to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about Unregenerate, written by David A. McEdam. This is chronologically the first appearance of the Seventh Doctor in audio format. Big Finish decided to make this story appear early on in his timeline. The reasoning for this is because they knew with the fans, they weren't particularly, a lot of fans, not everybody, but a lot of, I think safely a majority of fans, weren't too keen on some of the earlier stories in the Seventh Doctor era, whether they're right or wrong is up to the viewer and the person. But either way, so Big Finish has tried to put audio dramas featuring the Seventh Doctor and Mel, played by Sylvester McCoy and Bonnie Lanford, to try and make stories which kind of feel like later Seventh Doctor stories, especially in his last season, where they're a lot more grounded and dark and tackle very dark themes, with this one being no exception, with tackling like an asylum, like a mental health situation, and basically trying and like scatter it through the Seventh Doctor's timeline so that it kind of softens up the people's thoughts on his era, which I think is a very commendable thing to do. So this story takes place right after Time in the Rani, and sees actually the Doctor suffering from post-regeneration trauma, something which has been established in Cas Revolver and Twin Dilemma, showing in this story that the Seventh Doctor had a similar problematic regeneration as did his previous two. So that's really cool. I think this is a very popular one by fans. I'm not quite sure. I've heard a lot of people talk about this one. I don't know. I really enjoyed it anyway. So anyway, that's the official Big Finish CD cover. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, this is the first time I've ever listened to a Seventh Doctor adventure. So, yeah, I'll talk about that later. So yeah, that's the official Big Finish CD cover with Sylvester McCoy in a... I always thought it was a blanket, but now that I look about it, it's actually a stray jacket. And he's looking at some weird creature with lightning right there. Ooh, very tidy. And like always, I make my own DVD cover. This one I took it off the internet, but I think I've replaced the imagery because they used the old Sylvester McCoy image, but I've replaced it with the new one, so that's really cool. That's the cover. That's really nice, isn't it? Here's the spine, if anyone is interested. Look at that, look at Sylvester McCoy. Hello there, I'm Sylvester McCoy. He doesn't talk like that, but you know what I mean. And here is the back. Very nice. As you can see, it's not one of mine. I got this one off DeviantArt. But like I said, I changed the image because it used an older one, which the blah. So as I was trying to say before, this is actually my first introduction to the Seventh Doctor audio adventures. I've basically been saving up a bunch of Seventh Doctor audio dramas. I haven't listened to, this is the first and only one I've listened to so far, and I've saved them up. And basically what I wanted to do, what I was trying to do is, because I did struggle to get into, not to say that they were bad or anything, but I personally struggled to get into the Seventh Doctor era the first time I was doing a massive marathon, which I've talked about before in around 2015, 2016. I did a big Doctor Who marathon, just personally. I didn't do this video series of it. So this is actually my second time doing a massive marathon. And this time I'm doing audio dramas in it as well. So, and basically these audio dramas, I was hoping they would kind of soften and get me into it more often. So my main hopes were making the Seventh Doctor feel much more like what we would know from his later incarnations. I think I only got 2, but take place within the TV timeline. Every story then after Survival. But yeah, and my second hope is for Bonnie Lanford's Mel to be to actually be a character that I like. Like I've stated in The Wrong Doctors and The Brink of Death, Mel's character from her audio dramas to her TV appearance feel like completely different characters. Mel doesn't seem to scream at all since I can remember, and her knowledge of computers and her personality actually plays a part in these stories. So, Unregenerate. Does this story live up to my hopes? Simple answer, yes. Surprisingly, the Seventh Doctor isn't in this one a lot. So this story is really a Mel-centric story. And if I didn't like Mel in this story, then this could have been a catastrophe. This could have been a story where I could have gone, yeah, it's good, it's great, but I just hate Mel. Get her out of the story. But luckily, Big Finish has altered the character in such a way which I can actually tolerate her. And not only just tolerate her, but actually find her a fun and engaging character to be around. So basically, here's the plot. Sometime after Time and the Rani, the Doctor, now being called 47 in a institute, has basically gone mad. We don't know what yet, but anyway, he's basically been captured by these three groups of people. It doesn't say their names on the back. Usually they say the names on the back. One was called Louise. One of them is called Professor Rita, I think it is. Fun fact, she is actually played by the woman who played Barbara in Doctor Who and the Daleks, the movie. So that's a really nice little fact. And we also get another character who I can't remember her name. And they basically set up this asylum as a sort of project. We don't know what project it is at the moment or yet. But this project revolves bringing actually sane people in and making them mad. However, from what we can gather from dialogue, the Seventh Doctor was different. He actually came here, planned to basically try to do something, and he went mad, and they're actually trying to help him to try and get him better. They also leave the door open, and he's not even tied up, so he can just walk out whenever he wants. But he keeps rambling, and these little moments really shows Sylvester McCoy as a very scary figure. But the Seventh Doctor in this, what I think really works in this story and makes it feel like a much more later story, is that, for those of you who don't know, in Sylvester McCoy's Seventh Doctor's first season, he was basically trying to form the character. In Time and the Rani, he played it as a sort of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton kind of character, very physically demanding Doctor. But later on, he would slowly develop the character to a point where, by his final season, he is described as the chess master. He's the type of character who will use people as pawns in a way. Not that he's not like careless or has no emotional attachment to the people he's hangs around with, but he plays like the bigger game. He knows that there are much darker forces, and he can't act like he's one of the lesser people. He's got to be above everything. And you really get that feeling here as Bonnie Landford's character, Mel, she befriends a cabbie driver. This cabbie driver never gets named. I don't know why. It's a really weird plot element, but they never name him. And in fact, they do bring it up at the end. It's like, hold on, I never knew your name. And it's like, actually, I like it like that. Let's just keep me nameless. I don't understand it either. But anyway, she basically explains that she went home for a bit in 2007, and then the TARDIS kind of landed in her house, and then the Doctor left her a message basically being like, right, Mel, I've got a little mission for you. If you want to know where I am, you've got to follow this guy called Louise. Now, I'll tell you where he will be and where and when he will be, and you've got to be there and you've got to follow him to take you to me. Just don't let him know that you are following, okay? So the Seventh Doctor, despite hardly appearing in it for the majority, I mean, he is in it a lot, but the main, in this story, Mel feels like the main character, which actually works really beneficial to this story because it makes, because Mel in the Big Finish is an actual likeable and non-irritating character. And she basically is like investigating what's going on, and she works out basically by talking to people what's going on. We have a scene, I believe it's like right at the start, where we're actually in 1952, if I'm correct. It's in the 1950s anyway, and this man gets met up by a character, Louise. Louise, it begins with an L, and he basically states, it's like, right, you're probably not going to believe me, so I'm going to tell you something. What day is it? He tells, like, I think August the 15th. Okay, when you get home tonight, you're going to get a call from your daughter. You think it's going to be about her college exams or something like that. But in reality, she's going to call you up because she's going to tell you that she's actually engaged. And then it cuts to then the next day where it's like, how did you know that? And Louise basically explains, it's like, I got a deal for you. Basically, I can make you whatever you want. If you want to become like the ruler of the planet, or you want to become like the head of the company that you work for, or I don't know, you want to go around exploring, then I can make your dreams come true. With only, there's only one hench to this deal. I will return to you the day before you die, and you must come with me, no questions asked. That's the deal. This guy agrees, and he says he wants to be a famous sculptor, to which he does, and he becomes rich and famous, and he becomes a big family. He gets another wife. His children have grandchildren, and Louise actually returns to him, which is where Mel will find him in modern day 2007. This story is actually set. I've just realised that this actually takes place in the future of the story itself, as this story is released in 2005. I believe that makes it the earliest. No, it can't be. No, I'm mistaken. This is not the earliest. My apologies. And so Louise goes up to the guy and is like, right, it is, you're an old man now. You are about to die. You've got to come with me. You've made a deal. And this guy then goes with him, and they actually go to the asylum. And Louise basically explains that he's seen the future. By tomorrow, a burglar was going to come into your house, and you'll spot him and you try to fight him, and he'd stab you and kill you. And this guy is like, oh, okay, so you've come back here and you have saved me. So now that I know that, I can live. I'm not going to die. I wasn't going to die a natural death tomorrow. It was going to be, I was going to be murdered. So I'm going to be okay, right? Nope. Basically, this is a spoiler, by the way. This is going to be a massive spoiler, because we're going to find out what's going on. One criticism I do have with this story is that part 1 and 2 are very well handled. There's this built up, this almost strange atmosphere, as if you're listening to something that you shouldn't do, as the Seventh Doctor's gone crazy because of unknown reasons, and we got this person who can travel in time to the moment before your death after granting your wishes and all that, and it's really great and mysterious in the first 2 episodes. The cliffhanger for part 1 actually has Mel and the cabbie driver investigate what they believe is the asylum. However, they've noticed that the door is kind of just platted into the wall. There's actually no way of getting in, and they climb up a tree and they look over the roof to discover there is no roof. The house is a completely fake. I mean, who makes a fake house without a roof? It's very strange. I don't understand it, but it's an okay cliffhanger. It's okay. But my big criticism with this story is episode 3 is all about the explanation. It is literally just characters just going, right, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. So anyway, so this is the stuff in episode 3, so spoiler warning. It turns out that these characters are Time Lords. In fact, they work for the CIA, the Celestial Intervention Agency, a group of Time Lords, which has been mentioned many times in previous stories, in which they basically believe they're outside the government of regular Time Lord society, and they go out into the universe and experimenting and altering things to suit their purposes. And basically what they're doing is they're taking people who are about to die in the main chronological timeline, and try to basically wipe their brains clean and program AI, specifically the brains of TARDISes. Yes, this is actually the story which actually, it's been established before, but this is the story that confirms that TARDISes are sentient creatures. And when they go inside these bodies, they basically turn insane for the most part, as they can't really configure their bodies. At one point, the main character, I'm just going to call her the Professor, because her name is Professor Riga, something, but she's a professor, so I'm just going to call her the Professor. The Professor basically explains that what's been happening is the Time Lords have foreseen a time when even the most least civilized, technologically advanced civilizations will have the ability to time travel. And with so many amateur time travelers in the vortex, it will create mass panic and hysteria, and that it can cause immense damage to the timelines. So what they plan to do is to come up with a way where they can actually wipe people's brains, put a TARDIS brain in them, and basically make them pro at traveling time machines, saving the web of reality itself. And it's also here that we get some few flashbacks where we discover what's the Doctor been up into. And basically what's happened is that the Doctor, he went to this asylum, which actually turns out to be in space. Mel follow Louise's and they teleport onto the space station where they meet another creature, Shogai, which is another creature which was sent to this asylum. And the Doctor knew about this and he planned to basically go in, learn about it more, and then try and stop whatever evil plans that they have. However, something went completely wrong, as not only did he get a quick little shock by trying to tamper with the door's electrical circuits, giving him a bolt, but also because he was actually just recently regenerated. This actually triggered more post-traumatic regeneration disorder. So basically he didn't actually get, I don't know, it's hard to explain whether he had, I think he did have a TARDIS inside of him, but the majority of his madness came from him suffering from post-regeneration, and so he wasn't making like a lot of sense. He basically reminds me of Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. Reminds me of like that, where he's kind of like speaking in gibberish. He's just mentioning just like what random phrases. And Sylvester McCoy does a fantastic job of bringing out this really scary side of the Doctor. So episode 4 actually sees that the guy who Louise was actually talking to and provided him to get into this, his brain, when it got wiped and got replaced with the TARDIS brain, sorry, I keep saying Time Lords, TARDIS brain, actually did work, and he became a sane TARDIS within a human body. And there's actually a scene where he goes inside the TARDIS and is like, the Doctor's TARDIS, and is like, I can speak to you, I can understand you, I can feel you, we must stop this. And after basically the Doctor slowly learns that each of the people that work here don't actually like working here. They have they think it's very amoral thing to do. They do it, but they don't like doing it. If there was a other way, they would take it. And the story kind of just like, there's no like real like big bang to the ending. There's no like a rush moment at the end. The ending just kind of slightly slows in, which is a very strange ending, I'd say it like that. It doesn't feel like it's ending. It's more of just like it's just sort of like, oh right, okay, we're ending the story now, I guess. As basically they're like, right, the TARDISes do work. However, this is a terrible thing to do, and it only has like a 0.01% of working. Otherwise, the occupants just go mad. So we're just going to abandon this project, tell the Time Lords that it's a complete failure, and the Doctor then promises to take these TARDISes to a planet where they can live out their lives and become their own civilization, their own country. Mel actually makes a joke at the end where it's like, after bringing all the people back in Time and the Rani, in which Doctor brought all the geniuses he saved from the Rani back home, and now with this story ending with him promising to take people back home, Mel is like, you've basically become a taxi service. And I laugh off, and that's the end of Unregenerate. Overall, it is a very bizarre story. I think I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. Mel becoming the main character, with Bonnie Lanford playing it in a way which actually suits her acting style and really shows how Bonnie Lanford at her best. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like Mel now. Oh my god, that's something that like my younger self would feel sick hearing me saying that. That is just mad. Yeah, I like Mel. I like Mel. Woo! The side characters are a lot of fun. The mystery behind this story is a lot of great, and Sylvester McCoy's small little moments of him going mad, but also just the Seventh Doctor's presence of being this chess master. In the novels, he would get the title Times Champion, which I don't know will play in any things that we'll be talking about, because I won't be talking about the books. Only I'll be talking about the audio dramas and the TV for the Seventh Doctor. So I do apologise if that doesn't play into any part into what I'm talking about. But anyway, but I think the story does kind of it does. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's still a great story, but it does kind of collapse a bit. It kind of falls a bit when part 3 kicks in, because mainly just part 3 is all about explaining everything that we've seen. Really, they should have spread it out between the 2 episodes, or even have it a little bit in part 2 to try and feel a much more cohesive story. And then part 4 feels a little bit like a runaround as characters just wondering like what are they doing here, and what shall they be, and you know what's to do and stuff. So, and like I said, the ending isn't bad, but it's very strange how it's not like it doesn't like build up and build up and build up and then like a massive release like any other story. The story just kind of like fades out. It's like the threats become less and less and less dangerous as the Doctor like basically talks other characters out of turning people into TARDISes, which is just it's a very strange concept. I mean, it's very cool to hear. It's a very unique project, and if I ever get the mood to listen to a story like that, I know where to turn to with Unregenerate. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a very strange adventure. So if I had to sum up, I'd say it's okay. Not amazing, it's not like one of the best, but there's a lot of great enjoyment in it, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like the Seventh Doctor, or you want to like the Seventh Doctor, you want to like Mel, but you weren't too keen on their TV counterparts. That's what this story is about. It's about getting people who wouldn't like these versions of the Doctor and Companion into this version of the Doctor and Companion. So there you go, that's Unregenerate. So join me next time when the Doctor and Mel go to a holiday as they meet rebel teenagers and giant robots and a strange military geezer who can't stop quoting the rule book. So join me next time for Paradise Tower. And I'll see you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-da!